Hi everybody, I'm Francesco Bombarda from Bear Racing Europe, official distributor of Arai in the Iberian Peninsula and manufacturer of the Nos Helmets brand. Today I want to thank the friends from soymotero.net that gave me the opportunity to have some chat with you regarding the right way to take care about our helmets. Yeah, it depends on how much and in which condition we normally use our helmet, because if we use those on the track, maybe we will need to clean it more often. If we use just a few times per year and maybe just making tourism and maybe it's not even that hot, maybe it's not necessary to clean so often the helmet. Normally, personally, talking about the sport helmet I use to go on track, every time I go on track, I remove the inner liner and the cheek pad, and I put them in the washing machine in order to have always them clean. And talking about the rest of the helmet, the part that cannot be removed, normally maybe one time, two times per year, we can put the whole helmet inside a bucket full of water and neutral soap in order to clean every part of the helmet, then use a lot of water to remove all the soap, and at the end be sure that the helmet is really well dry before remounting everything. Yes, talking about the cleaning of the inner liner, we always suggest to use a neutral soap, like for example the Marseille soap, because using aggressively chemical products may damage the inner liner of the helmet. And that's the part of the helmet that we put our face in. So it's really important that they can work always well. But in the worst case, using very aggressive products, we can also make damages to the inner liner of the helmet, so the part of the helmet in EPS that together with the outer shell makes the most part of the job when we are talking about protecting the rider head during an impact, in this case absorbing it. So we don't want to make damages to the EPS. So use always a neutral soap, both when you clean, maybe in the washing machine, the inner liner of the helmet, the removable parts. Be sure not to use the spin driver and wash them always with a really low temperature in order not to ruin the inner liner. Same thing if you want to clean the other parts of the helmets that are not removable. As I said before, you can put it inside a bucket full of water with a neutral soap, wash them really well, use a lot of water in order to remove the soap, and then let it dry very well in order not to have humidity when we are going to remount the helmet. Yeah, talking about stains, maybe before to tell you how to remove them, maybe it's better to talk also on how avoid this kind of, we call it contamination, because sometimes we see when maybe we are having events on track that there is a lot of people that maybe works on the bike with really dirty hands, and after a while they take the helmet, grabbing it from the inner liner and putting all the dirt that they have on the hands inside the helmet. Same thing, maybe sometimes you can see people with really dirty gloves, and maybe when they are making a break, they put those gloves inside the helmet, and in this way the inner liner, obviously it will get dirty, it will get dirt too. So take really great care about your inner liner, because we're talking about the part of the helmet that is put in contact with our face. So I suggest to be really careful regarding this matter, just also for any hygienic matter. Then, in case of incidental stains, obviously the most dangerous, the most dangerous stains that we want to remove immediately are for sure maybe the stains caused by a contamination from petrol and its derivatives, like gasoline or things like that, and oil. Normally, we suggest to immediately wash the inner part of the helmet with a lot of water in order to be sure that those kind of really aggressive chemicals won't enter in contact with the EPS or the inner liner. So use a lot of water, but most importantly, keep always your helmet safe, maybe in their helmet bag, and when you're going to fit it, be sure that maybe your hands are clean, so you will be sure that you will not need to remove any stain from the inner liner. That's interesting because mosquitoes are an issue, a kind of dirt that is quite often underestimated. I can see myself when I make a bike trip, maybe a long bike trip, that there is a lot of people who ride with really dirt helmets with a lot of mosquitoes on the visor, and we believe that is a quite big issue. You know, the visor is the part of the helmet that connects you with the outer world, so it's really important to have it always clean. So we kindly suggest maybe when you are having a break during your bike trip, keep your visor clean, and because it's really easy. Normally we suggest to use a microfiber cloth, or maybe just a piece of paper like this, to put a lot of water on the paper, then maybe put on the visor like this for maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then after that the mosquitoes will begin to be really soft, and we will be able to remove them in a really easy way. At the same time, we obviously suggest not to use any kind of chemical products. We found out that there are also some commercial products that are sold like a visor cleaner that can make really big damages to the plastics of your helmet, talking about the visor, talking about the holder set or mechanism, and also for the air ducts. So I never found a mosquito that can resist to a lot of water and a paper cloth. So use those, it's really easy, and most importantly, when you are going maybe to store your helmet after the trip, don't put it dirty inside the bag, because quite a lot of times there is people who got a lot of mosquitoes, store the helmet, and then maybe the helmet is going to be stored for maybe 3-4 months, sometimes more, and it will be really difficult after so much time to remove those kind of dirt, those mosquitoes. At the same time, we found out that there are some kind of mosquitoes that got a quite acid body, and after a while, it happens also on the cars, for example, they can make damages to the paint, or maybe if we got a mirrored visor, to the visor treatment. So we always say, use your helmet, keep your visor clean, and before storing the helmet, please give it a clean, also because it's really nice to wear your helmet clean when you're going to start your trip. Don't use chemical products, and use just water, and if needed, the neutral soap, like for the inner liner. If needed, if you find that there are maybe mosquitoes inside the air ducts, we suggest to maybe use a cotton fioc, or in alternative, like what I'm doing, in order to use tools that everybody got inside our house. You can use a screwdriver like this, or maybe also smaller, with a piece of paper. You can put the paper on the screwdriver in order to be sure not to ruin the paint and the outer shell of the helmet, and you can pass the screwdriver inside the air duct, being sure not to ruin any mechanism, in order to remove mosquitoes from the inner part of the air ducts. Yes, the little bottle that you can find inside the every helmet box of RI helmets is just a silicone lube. So it's a particular oil that you can use, for example, to keep the mechanism always in good shape and in a great functionality, and at the same time to take care about the rubbers of the helmet. For example, seeing this RI helmet, we can put the lube in the parts where we see that there is much more stress, so like this and like this. And after that, doing maybe the same thing on the rubber of the helmet in order to keep them always soft and to let them to seal greatly the visor. Same thing talking about helmets like the NOS helmet that doesn't have the external holder set. We can put the oil in those parts where the mechanism is more stressed during the use, and the same thing with the visor rubber that can be kept clean and always soft in order to seal perfectly the visor. Yeah, talking about spare parts, or also if maybe we want to purchase a new visor, a Fume visor, a mirrored visor, every RI or a NOS helmet official dealer can provide you with the official spare parts and for your helmet. And normally, talking about Iberian Peninsula, we ship and you can receive the material from 4 to 6 days. So it's quite easy for the dealer to make an order directly to us in order to provide the part. If you prefer to buy it on the net, you can go directly on bearstore.es. There is a small button called Busca tu recambio. And in this part of the website, you can select the model of your helmet. You will see all the white helmets. You can select your model. Then you can select your version and the size of the helmet. In this way, you will see all the spare parts available for that particular model and version. So all the spare parts will suit with your helmet. At the same time, RI assure spare parts for about 7 years after that the helmet has been discontinued. So also for quite old helmets, you can find spare parts in order to keep your helmet always in perfect shape, and both talking about safety but also a really good looking helmet. Yeah, talking about the pin lock, we have to be careful because it's one of the most delicate part of the helmets. But honestly, there are no problems because during the use, the pin lock is always well protected inside the visor. So there's no actual need to work a lot on it. Yeah, but if we want to remove the pin lock, take care that this is very delicate, but we can easily bend the visor, grab the pin lock from both the sizes and bend it, being sure not to touch the part that is facing the visor because it's very, very delicate. We don't need to clean it because there is a rubber around the pin lock that avoid the dirt to come in, so we can remove it and wash the whole visor, putting it in the water with no need to do nothing on the pin lock. When we want to re-put it, be sure that the rubber part is going to touch the visor. Then we can simply bend the visor, putting the hole on the pin of the pin lock, and then bending the pin lock. We can put also the other hole and then let the pin lock touch the visor in order to seal perfectly all the parts of the visor, avoiding humidity to come inside. Be sure that every part is touching, and then after that we can re-put the visor on the helmet. Yeah, the helmet check is one of the most crucial things to take care about. Talking about the EPS liner in particular, it's the part of the helmet that actually absorbs the energy of an impact and protects us against accidents. At the same time, also the outer shell needs to be always in the best shape possible. And we heard with our experience that there are some brands that says that maybe after 4 or 5 years the helmet expires. From our experience, we cannot suggest an expiration date for our helmets. Yeah, we know that the EPS, every kind of EPS of every brand, normally getting older, it becomes a little bit harder. So it loses a little part of its ability to absorb the energy of an impact. At the same time, we have seen that maybe some riders with a sweat that is particularly acid, we can see that his EPS, if he uses the helmet with quite hot conditions for a lot of time, those kind of helmets, we can see that the EPS starts to be quite harder. So knowing that when we purchase an RI, a NOS helmet, we want to be sure to have the maximum protection possible, we always say, please give us your helmet, we will check it for you, and then we will say to you if this helmet is continuing to fit the safety standard of the brand. Last year, in particular in Iberian Peninsula, we arranged quite or less 20 days of event. We call that racing and touring service. We arranged those at our best dealers, but also during the Copa de España Championship. We are there with our staff, and every RI or NOS helmet customer can take advantage of this kind of service. Normally we give a clean to the helmet, we give a check to the mechanism, to the systems, in order to check if everything is doing well. At the same time, we are checking the EPS liner in order to be sure that it is still able to make his job in the best way possible. So please bring your helmet to us. The service is completely free of charge, so it won't cost nothing. And in particular, if you are suspecting that maybe your helmet had an hit, maybe fell down from the motorbike, or maybe during a track day you lost your bike and maybe you give a hit on the helmet. Last year, as I said, we arranged plus or less 20 days of events. This year, due to the COVID pandemic, we had to reschedule completely our event schedule. So stay connected with our social networks, or with Bell Racing Europe España on Facebook, or for example bellracing.es, in order to be always updated regarding the dates and the events that we are going to arrange on the Iberian Peninsula. Thanks to you, it's been a pleasure also for me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this chat with all the fellow riders of soymotero.net. See you next time.